Hello, internet people. My name is Vance. I'm going to read a few pages out of a novel that I wrote. It's not published. It's narrated by a pair of 12-year-old conjoined twin sisters who live in a pre-modern world in a small town that's ruled by like an evil preacher slash mayor. Also, nobody understands conjoined twins yet, so they get a lot of shit for that. Also, their mother died in childbirth, which doesn't help. And their father now suffers from delusions. Most recently, he's convinced that their dead mother has returned to life in the form of a baby doll. And the girls are constantly being bullied by the evil preacher and the other townspeople. So as a result, they're a little bit sociopathic. Currently, they're on a walk in the woods in search of a tree to cut down so that they can build a bridal chamber for the baby doll so that their father can remarry her. Every time we walk through the woods alone, we try to kill everything we see. Some things are easy, like small plants or insects. We simply step on an insect and his whole life is over in an instant. His body flattens into a red puddle. His legs float like twigs. Insects are easy, but nothing is as easy as killing our mother was. That we didn't even try to do. We don't even remember that. The bigger and faster the creature, the more satisfaction we get out of killing it. Squirrels and mice are better than insects. We've only killed a few squirrels because it's kind of an ordeal. The hard part is catching them. After that, it's easy to smash their head with a rock. We brought the squirrels back to Aunt Sheila to cook, and she was disgusted, but she cooked them anyway in order to not be wasteful. Birds are almost impossible to kill without guns, which we are not allowed to have. The only birds we've killed were babies who fell out of their nests. We think their mothers cry out sad songs from above. We stay away from creatures that are bigger and stronger than us, such as bears and wolves, because we are in no hurry to die, maybe when we're old women. We also do not kill Diana the cat, because she's a hunter, a natural-born killer like us, and we respect that. She is skilled at pouncing, jumping, and hiding. She kills mice easily. We observe her behavior and learn tricks from her. She plays with her prey. She drags a mouse along the ground by his guts, then eats him. There are certain rules about killing that we are expected to follow. It is always okay to kill insects. It's okay to kill other animals only if we eat them, like when father slits a chicken's throat on a special occasion. We sometimes break this rule about killing animals, but it's not that big of a deal. No one notices if a baby bird goes missing. If you're a regular person and not a war hero or something, it's not okay to kill humans. That's one of the worst things you can do. And it's hard to break this rule without getting caught, because if a person dies, everybody notices. The only way for a regular person to kill another is to make it look like an accident, which is easier to do if you're still a child. You are also allowed to kill humans if you're a Preacher Johnson and you say that the person is a heathen or a witch. We hear there is a place where women live alone with no men. That place is deep in the woods, further away from our town, somewhere you can't find unless you're meant to. This place is a clearing in the woods, but the sun never shines there, only the moon, so it's like it's always night. To decorate, the women paint all the trees and houses red so it looks more like hell. They call these women witches. Witches mostly stay away from regular people, but sometimes they wander into our town or other towns to cause trouble. This is what they say. They also say witches are ugly. They have warts all over their faces. They look old no matter how old they are. They have rough green skin like lizards. But witches can disguise themselves with potions and transform into beautiful women. This means we're supposed to be suspicious of both ugly and beautiful women. Preacher Johnson is the boss when it comes to witches. He says they are all servants of the devil, so they're even worse than regular heathens. Witches do not marry men, they all marry the devil instead. They are both servants and wives. They can fly and make love potions. They capture innocent men and eat their brains. They torture children until they're dead, then eat their bodies in a stew. Preacher Johnson says witches and the devil are also responsible for the disease. They want people to die and go to hell to get more servants for the devil. The devil's master plan is to kill everyone in the world and take them all to hell so that he can use them as soldiers in a war to beat God in the biggest war of all time. This is why it's so important for everyone to believe in God. If you believe in God and don't do too many bad things, you'll go to heaven and be on God's team for the giant war. It's not possible to go through your whole life without doing a single bad thing, unless you're Jesus. But if you go to church all the time, say sorry a lot, and are nice to Preacher Johnson, you can get into heaven. God's team is favored to win the big war, even though it is impossible for us living people to tell how many dead souls are in heaven versus how many are in hell. We look forward to this war very much. If Preacher Johnson catches a witch, he has her burned alive in front of an audience, while he screams out passages from the Bible and the crowd cheers like they're watching summer sports, which is a fun festival we have every year where people fight with pretend swords and whoever wins gets a prize. There's no actual test to see if someone is really a witch. Preacher Johnson just looks at her and talks to her, then says yes or no. He can say you're a witch if he doesn't like how you look or how you act. He can say you did dark magic even if you didn't. Preacher Johnson talks about witches pretty much every week at church. He gives the congregation warnings. Sometimes, while he talks about witches, he looks right into our faces and frowns at us. Men cannot be witches, neither can children. The problem is, it's unclear to us at what age someone transforms from a child to an adult, girl to woman. Witches are one of the many reasons we're not supposed to go too far into the woods, too far away from town. They are a danger. Other dangers include wolves, bears, and getting so lost that we won't be able to find any food and will die of starvation. But Father is crazy right now, so we can go as deep into the woods as we want. Today, Father has allowed us to take his saw, axe, and wheelbarrow in order to chop up a tree for the wedding house. We are not normally allowed to use saws or axes. The one benefit to Father's crazy periods is that we can get away with mischief. "Come here, little animals," we call out as we walk. "We won't hurt you, we promise." We giggle. We will chop their little heads off and use them as balls for summer sports. Come to the edge of a clearing. We think this is a good place to chop down a tree so it can fall clean into the clearing and not get stuck in other trees. We have seen Father chop down trees before. We choose a tall pine. The pines are always green. Other trees turn half dead in winter. Their leaves fall off and are eaten up into the ground. The branches shrivel into sticks. The layers of bark flake off like the old dead skin on a worker's hands, not pines. They're always fully alive until some murderer comes along like us. We grab one side of the saw with each hand, then push and pull against the tree trunk like it's tug of war. The saw screams as it cuts into the tree. The more it cuts, the more we see of the tree's clean flesh inside. It's never opened up to the air before. We know there are rings scribbled on the flesh, markers of the years like old calendars. We want to see them and then cut them apart. The tree creaks like the opening door of a haunted house, then falls to the ground. Its pine branches bounce up from the force of its collision with the ground, the tree's final gasp for air. We hug each other. It's the most beautiful thing we've ever seen. We use the tree's dead stump as a table and hack the tree flesh into pieces. We imagine the stray limbs of dolls in Aunt Sheila's house. We imagine hacking our new pretend mother doll into pieces like that. We imagine her screaming, although she cannot scream, because she's a doll. We think we might just be able to shock Father out of his crazy time before this second wedding happens and Father embarrasses himself and us in front of all the guests. What Father doesn't know is that the wedding house is going to be a torture chamber. We will shock him out of his insanity early this year when we destroy the stupid doll, so she's dead, and he'll remember that our real mother is also dead. We're tired of this, of Father going crazy every spring. We will stage a big spectacle the day before the wedding party, so the wedding will be called off, and then he'll snap out of it forever. Adults will not be mad at us for the torture chamber because it's only a doll, not a real human, and also because we'll cry and say we're sorry and we are only children. This always works, and we plan on using our status as children to our advantage while we still can. In the torture chamber, we will have knives and a guillotine and even an Iron Maiden. We will tell Father we need to pamper the doll and help her become beautiful the day before the wedding in the little house. Girl stuff. But what we'll actually do is torture her and chop her stupid little body apart until she's as dead as a doll can be. Then we'll roast pieces of her over a fire like meat in front of Father and Aunt Sheila. We will say, "She's a doll. That is not our mother. Our mother is dead. We killed her. Nobody can bring her back to life." Thank you.